just kind of what I think this year's team is. Could they go on a run? Like, yeah, sure, because we've seen them do it before. But I don't think there's a version of this year's 49ers team that's just going to go thump somebody, thump a playoff contender. I think Dallas, as bad as they've been, that's still I think a playoff contending team.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see the Niners go beat those teams by 30. I don't think they have it in them this year.
You know, though, because I watch a lot of Kansas City Chiefs games, and
Sure.
they're 7-0 now, right? They feel the same way.
Yeah,
except for they win. You know, they don't have this moment. They have a moment where the game gets too close and it gets a little shaky, but then they just systematically beat you. Where the Niners haven't had that killer instinct at the end of games, and we saw it with the Cardinals game, we saw it with the Seattle game. Oh no, the Ram game, where they just let people off the hook. The Chiefs don't let you off the hook, but it feels the same way. Like, I don't think Patrick Mahomes can go for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. I don't. And he hasn't done that for like 15 games. So I'm sitting here watching it and like.
But you trust the Chiefs defense to get a stop.
No, I do. Yeah.
If the Chiefs scored 30 against Dallas, they're winning that game 30-10. Right?
Yeah, probably.
And that's kind of the difference. Like their defense is outstanding. And shout out to Gardner Minshew, who had Steve Spagnuolo in a damn blender yesterday. Shout out to our guy Gardner.
Yeah, he played well.
Now they couldn't punch it in after getting 1st and goal at the 3 on the Patrick Mahomes interception to Trayvon Merrick, but boy, for a minute there it looked really good. So the Raiders lose to the Chiefs 27-20 yesterday. But again, to your point, like, did the Chiefs look like a Super Bowl team in Vegas yesterday? No, they don't look like it. But on some level, you have to fall back on the fact that they're the 2-time defending champs.
Oh, yeah.
And we just watched them kick the 49ers' teeth in at Levi Stadium on the strength of their defense. The 49ers just could not move the ball offensively. And it allows their offense to kind of have the margin for error that they do, where Patrick Mahomes can come out and be as bad as he's been. The 49ers don't have that luxury, man. When Brock Purdy wasn't good in the first half, the 49ers were down 10-6.
Yep.
And it was a mess, dude.
I don't know what to, like, again, the Brock Purdy thing is weird. Like, you're just waiting for this moment where it all clicks, and it just doesn't seem to be happening. And he has great moments, and then he has other moments where you're just left wanting. Even, like, he had a couple of really nice deep balls that he threw, whether it was Debo. I think there was one other, maybe it was Debo twice. Both the throws were underthrown. Like, there's 6. It was 6 if the ball's on the line.
Yeah.
And you're like,
well,
hey,
he had the one that was called back, the 66-yard touchdown.
Oh yeah.
It was called back, but yeah.
But you're sitting there like wanting more all the time. The play where Debo like came back and caught the ball, like he caught it with his hands as opposed to like catching with his body, but like kind of went back and got the ball. He was 1-on-1 with a linebacker down the sidelines. If that ball is a yard out in front of Debo, that's his touchdown, no question. But it's like these little tiny things you're left wanting.
Was it the 4th and 3? The Cowboys bring the house, and Purdy makes the right read and the right throw to Deebo Samuel, wide open over the middle, and just throws it behind him.
Yeah,
like you can't miss that throw, man. So, anyways, all of this is to say, I don't want to harp on Brock Purdy right now. All this is to say, the difference between the 49ers and the Chiefs to me is I trust the Chiefs. Well, A, they have Patrick Mahomes, but B, I trust the Chiefs defense to get a stop when their offense isn't cooking. I don't trust the Niners to do that. And you saw it last night. They're up 27-10. And Tay in the chatty house says Nick Sorensen's trash. Stop running prevent with the lead. I couldn't agree more, man. I understand with 11, I think the Cowboys got the ball back with like 11 and a half minutes left. 17-point game. You should be able to put that away.
Oh, yeah.
But they drive down and they score a touchdown in 4 minutes because the 49ers are trying not to give up the big play, right? They're playing back. They're going, okay, yeah, you can take. But there's I understand the theory behind that. But letting them cruise down the field and score in the name of like not giving up a big play, that's fine if they're going to take 7.5 minutes to score. Like a 4-minute drive is not a long time.
No.
So it just I'm having a really hard time. Despite here are the facts. The 49ers are 4-4. Christian McCaffrey is due to come back after the bye week. Kyle Shanahan said his practice window is going to open in week 9. They're going to have some on-field work. That way Christian McCaffrey can participate there.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have a bonus practice Monday of next week. And then they'll have the 3 days of practice to allow him to continue his ramp up. And then he is on track to play in week 10 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's what Kyle Shanahan said last week. It was confirmed today in reporting by Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all good signs. Those are all reasons to be like, yeah, hey, arrow pointing up. Maybe Dre Greenlaw comes back at some point. Okay, arrow pointing up. But they didn't do anything really last night that convinced me like, okay, they're absolutely going on a run. There are signs that say they're moving that way. We'll talk about the rookies here in a second. I thought they had multiple rookies step up in a big way last night.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all encouraging. That's all nice. Going out and scoring 30 points and closing out a game defensively. Okay, that's all nice. But it felt like week 6 to me. And we saw how they came out in week 7. They need to start stacking a few wins together. They need to go get a quality road win against Tampa Bay. They need to take care of division opponents like the Seahawks and the Rams and the Cardinals. You need to go get a win like in Buffalo.
Either
or
Buffalo
Green
or
Bay.
Green Bay, one of the two.
You got those back-to-back games that are coming was those week 12 and 13?
Mm-hmm.
Because they have the Seahawks in 11?
Yep.
In week 11?
And then the Bears after that.
I mean, those are games you have to go get. And until they're winning those games, until the clock is at 0 and they have more points than the other team, I'm not going to be totally convinced that this Niners team is back.
Yeah, what it feels like right now is they're a slightly better than 500 team. They're a 500 team, right? They're 4-4.
Mm-hmm.
But they have the feel of a team that's probably a couple of like 1 or 2 wins better than that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter. Like if you don't actually go out and win the game,
mm-hmm.
then, we can't keep saying this. It's like, again, the Sacramento Kings are 0-2. Like if they do take care of business tonight and go to 1-2, and then they take care of business on the road and they pick up some wins, and then we can start honestly saying, okay, this team's on the right path and they don't look that bad and all that stuff. But when you lose 5 preseason games and then 2 more to start the season, and you're on a 7-game losing streak, and then we want to go back to last season even longer than that, you need someone to prove it to you before we start saying, okay, hey, we can say don't panic because, 0-2 isn't horrible in an 82 games schedule, and 4-4 isn't horrible in a 17-game schedule. But at some point you have to prove that you're more than that.
Yep.
And so we're waiting for that moment for the Niners and again, the Kings both to like show us that they are better than what we think, or they're as good as we think they are.
Yeah. At least the Kings are 2 games in, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so much with the 49ers. Here's the problem with the Niners. I'm in agreement with you. You can go back to that Rams game and you say, if Ronnie Bell makes that catch, the 49ers win the game. Or if Jake Moody makes that long field goal, the 49ers win the game. Or if Kyle Juszczyk isn't called for holding. But that's week 3. Okay, so that's one game like that where you smoke a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. They smoke a 13-point second half lead to the Cardinals in sort of the same fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Seahawks game on the road in Seattle where you almost smoke another 10-point lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then you have last night. That's half of your games.
That's called a trend, Kyle.
Right. Like,
it's
and that's
called
why,
a trend.
That's why I agree with what you're saying, that they're 1 or 2 plays away from being 6-2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they're 6-2, they are winning the division by a bunch, and we're talking Super Bowl. But the fact is, it's not. Oh yeah, they had a weird game. The week 1 in 2022 against the Bears, where the Bears beat them, and then the 49ers went to the NFC Championship game, and the Bears had the number 1 overall pick the next year. But the Bears won that game when Trey Lance started. That's a weird week 1 game. That was just a weird, like, oh, what a strange game.
Yeah.
This isn't, oh man, the Niners had that one really bad loss, and then they had that game where a bunch of guys were hurt. Like, no, this is a trend. They've had 4 games where they're struggling to close games out. And they went the wrong way against the Rams and the Cardinals. So while they feel more 6-2-ish, to me, the fact that they've had 4 of those games lends me to believe this is just kind of who they are.
Yeah, that's what you're worried, that the trend is that you are a team that blows like late leads.
Yeah, and against, like, okay,
Yeah.
you got away with it against the Seahawks, who I am not sold are more than a 9-8-ish team.
Yeah. Yeah.
You closed out the Cowboys, who I'm not convinced are more than a 9-8-ish team.
Mhm.
Can you do that against Green Bay? Can you do that against the Lions?
Well,
The Lions would boat race these dudes right now,
yeah. Oh no.
flat out.
There's only 2 teams that they've really played, and it's Minnesota and Kansas City on the season
Who kicked their teeth in,
that are really bona fide playoff
Yes.
teams.
and they lost soundly to both teams.
Yeah, they what was it? 23-17 and
But-
28-18.
But that 23-17, they scored a touchdown late
Yeah.
against
No,
against the Vikings.
I totally agree with you. We're just waiting for that moment where they actually show us who they are. And the problem that we have is that they may have already shown us who they are. We just weren't quite prepared for that.
Yeah, man.
And now it's like, okay, can you be something better than you are now? Because as of right now, straight up, you're just a 500 team. You're a team that's going to win some. You're going to be bad teams,
Mhm.
and we can pick apart the schedule and probably find another 5 bad, teams that are on their schedule. 4 teams, 5 teams that are bad. But can you get a couple of wins against really good quality teams? If
Right.
not, it doesn't even matter because you're going to get to the playoffs
Exactly.
and you're going to get stomped by teams that are better.
Yes,
And-
that's
all
exactly it. Frank Anwar in the chatty house said, "For now, I agree with you. Let them get their players back." Like, yeah, maybe they get Christian McCaffrey back, and the red zone stuff goes away, and their score, because that's the thing. We talked about this last week. Their offense is fine.
Mhm.
They're moving the ball. They're scoring. They're not scoring touchdowns, but that's where Christian McCaffrey should help. Although I went back and looked at this last night. If you take out the last drive where the Niners kneeled down in the red zone to end the game, that counts as a red zone trip. That counts as not scoring in the red zone.
Mm.
So take that drive out. They were 3 for 3 last night.
Yep.
Over the last 3 games, they're 8 of 12, which is 66.7%, which is right near the 67.2% they were for last year.
Okay.
So the red zone's been a little better. But you get Christian McCaffrey back. Yeah, maybe that happens, and maybe they make a trade and they take off. But, I mean, you got the Chiefs over here trading for Josh Uche from the Patriots. Really good edge rusher. Like, man, Niners could use one of those. Why aren't they? Why aren't they on the horn making these moves?
That was a steep price to pay, though. I mean,
What was it? What did they wind up giving up?
it looked like a 2nd-round pick, and he's had one
Is that
season
right?
where he had 11.5 sacks. Every other season has been very, very marginal.
Give up
So
a 2nd-round pick.
I could have sworn that's what I saw on the graphic that someone threw up was a 2nd-round pick. Maybe I'm wrong, but either way, it's
New England will get a 2026 6th-round pick in return.
6.
In 2 years.
Oh no,
A
that's fine.
6th-round pick, not in next year's draft, the following draft. Dude. Boy. That's I hate that a lot.
Did you see that our guy
Brian Thomas.
Christian Kirk suffered a season-ending broken collarbone?
Yeah, and Brian Thomas is going to miss 2 to 4 weeks with chest and rib injuries.
That's
fine. We'll regroup. We won't have our front office chat
yeah.
for our fantasy team on air, but that's tough.
And we're already down Nico Collins,
that's a tough,
man.
That's a
Come
tough
on,
blow
Kyle.
to Team Swift, Kirk, and the Dicker. It's really tough. He's James. I'm Kyle. We're the Insiders. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Sunshine and rainbows time. Outside of Christian McCaffrey coming back.
Yeah.
The 49ers got 4 very good rookie performances last night.
Okay.
You had rookie Pearsall, 4 catches for 38 yards on 4 targets. He also had a 39-yard run on a jet sweep
Yep.
that helped set up what was the kind of game-sealing field goal.
Mhm.
That was huge. Just the fact that the 49ers are starting to integrate him in some different ways this early on. A rookie receiver going for 4 for 38 with as little practice time as he's had. Like, you'll take that. You'll take that for sure.
Yeah, totally. I think there's some things he needs to clean up like very quickly because he looks like one of those receivers that like throughout his career is going to be like the guy who always gets a 3rd down. He always gets you 1st down on 3rd. And so far, there's been a little bit of clunkiness where with his understanding where he is on the field.
Yeah.
Like there's a little bit of like falling down 3 yards before.
The Niners had a QB sneak. I think it was their first drive where Pearsall and Conley and Ronnie Bell were split out to the right in a bunch formation.
That's just not great.
It might have been Debo, but they were going to sneak it.
Yeah.
Is the wide receivers knew, and they had lined up, and the Purdy's under center. He's getting ready to take the snap, and Chris Conley is telling Ricky Pearsall that he and Pearsall need to switch spots. So they draw a penalty. I think it wound up going as a false start. It might have been an illegal motion or an illegal shift, but they get a penalty for they didn't need to move.
Oh.
But Ricky Pearsall just kind of lined up in the wrong spot. And so they're moving as the snap is happening. So they get the first down, but it's negated because the wide receivers didn't know where to line up.
Not great.
That was tough. But no, Ricky Pearsall, good game last night. I thought Isaac Orendo coming in swung the game for the Niners offense.
Yeah, he was really good.
Jordan Mason was not effective last night. 6 carries, 18 yards. And his lack of, while he's very physical, I think he has good vision. He does not have like breakaway top end speed.
Yeah, he was a little slow and plodding early in the game.
Yeah. 6
Yeah.
carries for 18 yards. Isaac Orendo comes in after Jordan Mason exits with a shoulder injury, re-injured the shoulder that he hurt in week 6.
Mm-hmm.
And just immediately, 15 yards, 19 yards, another 15-yarder that got called back for holding.
Yeah.
He added a spark to the 49ers offense last night that I think they really needed. He goes for 14 carries, 85 yards, has his first touchdown. A game changer last night for the 49ers, I thought.
Yeah, and he would have had a second touchdown if he didn't just sit down at the 1 yard line.
Did the right thing.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he's fun. And I think early on we were kind of out on him, but the way that he's sort of got some momentum going is good. What I'd like to see them do is when they do get healthy, figure out a way to make him effective in the kick return game. Because I'm watching teams like the Lions who have like we talked about this. There's going to be 1 or 2 teams that figure out the new rules and are really good at the kick return, the new kick return.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lions are one of those teams. And the Niners just aren't. They're they're just horrible on special teams overall. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. The Cowboys were kicking away from Garendo last night.
Yeah.
They were kicking to Patrick Taylor instead, which I guess you can do when you have a good kicker who can directionally kick.
And their kicker was there, right? Even though
he was.
Even though he had jury duty all
week.
So
did you hear that story about how they were doing that?
No.
He would go do jury duty 45 minutes away from the practice facility. The long snapper and holder would stay late at the facility, so when he got back from jury duty, he could get his kicks in late at night.
They should have just
it's amazing.
Like sent those guys down to the courthouse and like had them sitting outside, and every 15-minute break, just like open
up a couple of windows in the courthouse and let them boot them through.
Yeah, or just right down the street, like a whole bag of balls, and just like, all right, snap it into like the little strip of grass.
Yeah,
on the sidewalk.
Yeah, man, and it'll be like when you're playing football as a kid. Like, okay, it's got to clear the light post at that sticker.
Yeah,
man.
I'll give you $1 if you can land it in the back of that UPS truck.
Malik Mustafa, the safety, really good last night. Had a really nice pass breakup in the end zone.
That was nice.
He had 5 tackles. He's so fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since you're starting to see the light bulb come on for him. Really good player there. And then Renardo Green hurt his ankle on the play on the second CeeDee Lamb touchdown, where Jair Brown inexplicably went slamming into him in coverage.
Oh.
Hurt his ankle, but Pro Football Focus, if you're into that kind of thing, had him as the 49ers highest graded defender.
Oh.
Against Dallas.
Okay.
And if the light bulb is now coming on for a corner, if you're getting Isaac Orendo contributing, Malik Mustafa contributing, Renardo Green contributing like that, and then Ricky Pearsall getting sprinkled in, that's a really, really big deal for this year, because it's like you have rookies who are getting better and are having the light bulb come on at a point where you're starting to, it's crunch time. You're going to start to needing to win some of these games.
Yeah.
That bodes well for this year, but then for the next couple of years as well, having those guys step up now.
Yeah, and adding to the rookies that I thought looked really good. I've been hard on Devondre Campbell because I don't want to watch him play football ever. Mm-hmm. I thought he was actually really good. Like, I don't know, he flew to the ball. There were multiple times where I was like, hey, I noticed him for a good reason, not for a bad reason.
I am 100% with you.
Just the improvement.
I'm
not saying he's good. I'm just saying the improvement.
Right. He flashed better last night than he had at any point this year.
Mhm.
But I think it's partially because 97-year-old Dalvin Cook and 86-year-old Ezekiel Elliott were the two running backs for Dallas, and they just have no juice.
Yeah.
Do you know Ezekiel Elliott had an 11-yard carry against the Niners last night? It was his longest carry of the year.
Oh no. That's wild.
It's tough. It's really tough.
That's
So
wild.
like, dude, you get Devondre Campbell going up against the Devondre Campbell of running backs, like, yeah, he's got you. But man, you want Devondre Campbell running with Jahmyr Gibbs? No thanks.
It's funny. I saw a clip of the Chargers game because I was watching Red Zone, and I don't even know where that's at. Let's see the Chargers. Here we go. And Justin Herbert gets out of the pocket and starts rambling.
Mm-hmm.
He took off for a 38-yard gain.
Yeah, Justin Herbert can move, man.
He was flying down the field like there were two guys that were about to converge on him, and he slipped right through and just kept going.
He can run.
Oh, look at that.
He just doesn't do it a lot.
Yeah. I'm digging the Brock Purdy runs, although I'm a little concerned that he dives forward every single time and doesn't slide. Like I like that he goes and gets first downs, and that he's showing his mobile stuff and he's not doing the Fran Tarkington run around in circles for 8 minutes. Yeah. But I do like how he's being aggressive, coming out of the pocket, getting upfield, and then he knows where he's at on the field at all times, and you can see him diving for first downs.
Really good sense of where that marker is.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I think he's actually one of his skills is understanding how to avoid hits, and so when he dives, he's doing it like underneath defenders.
Yeah.
Or doing it early before defenders can get there. And it's usually he only does it when he needs those couple of yards. Typically he's getting out of bounds or whatever. So that play last night where the Cowboys covered up the screen that they had set up and he tucked it and took off for 16 yards. Like that's the kind of play that just the Niners have not had that under Kyle Shanahan, that kind of improvisational skill.
Yeah.
Because like Chris Biederman said this on our podcast last night, Candlestick Chronicles, like Jimmy Garoppolo, that's a pick. That's a pick six. He's throwing it directly to the defender. So no, I'm with you, man. Brock was fine last night. Not his best game. Certainly better than he was against Kansas City. And yeah, he used his legs to pick up 3 first downs. I think.
He's showing the escapability of a guy like Jeff Garcia, where you're like, oh, look at that. Look at that. He got another little 12 yards where he got downfield, got out of bounds, didn't get hit. Yeah, good stuff.
Yep. Overall, 49ers needed a win. They got it. We'll talk. I saw Russ Dog in the chat ask about the trade deadline. We'll talk about that trade deadline coming up November 5th. We will get into that, and we'll have a little bit more from this game. We'll have some of the injury updates. Jordan Mason, how's his shoulder doing? And we'll continue talking about that as well. But we've got a Kings game to get to. There we go. I was lost on my sheet because we're front and back page here.
Oh, yeah.
I was a little bit lost, but we're good. The Kings fell to the Lakers 131-127 on Saturday. We got to get into that. Because 0-2, not the way anybody wanted to start the year.
Nope.
I'm trying to find the balance between it's not panic, but there are several things between everything's fine and full-blown panic. There's a lot of gray area.
Yes.
I'm in the gray area firmly. I'm just trying to figure out which side I'm leaning toward. And I would like to have this discussion with you.
Okay.
Because you know how I get overreacting to things.
I think I can help walk quite a few people through this.
I hope so. Because I like I said, I'm not full-blown panic. I'm not full-blown fire people or cut people or trade. It's not there. But I think with expectations comes this. And we'll get into it. We'll find out where do you land on the panic meter with the Kings after 2 games. We'll talk about that next. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube, hanging out with you till noon on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Leader. Clear. Somebody asked me something else. Let's see. Let's grab that. Dude, I'm with you. Jair Brown is I'm worried about him.
He did have a pick, right?
Boy, did he.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. But man, I agree with the game 916, man. He blows coverage a lot. He's
Yeah.
missing tackles, taking bad angles. Like maybe he's still adjusting and he'll get there. It took him a couple of years at Penn State too, but man,
What's the deal with Hufanga?
he's going to try and come back. Shanahan basically said he's going to try and come back. We're hoping he can. We're not relying on it. There's a chance he can.
What did he do?
Tore ligaments in his wrist.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
So
I missed that. I do remember the wrist injury. I just don't remember the final results for it.
Yeah. There was like a report that the Niners think he's done for the year, but then there was another report that he's going to play with a cast or going to try and play with a cast. Shout out to my guy, Sean. We're coast to coast, thanks to Sean. He's watching in Virginia.
Oh, nice.
Sean's a homie.
Very cool.
Do you want to talk about Ten Hog?
Oh, yeah.
Ten Hog is just an insane name.
Eric Ten Hog. He is out at Man U. Hell yeah.
You were fired up about that today.
I'm so done. You know, like
you want to talk about the Kings and you were like, shut the fuck up. I need to talk about Ten Hog.
That's right. Ten Hog
exactly
is out.
What you said.
Like all these guys are like, hell yeah. Like, well, all their players are giving the great quotes, the super nice quotes about Ten Hog. But like, man, you got to go out and win. And I'm so tired of the excuses. I've never heard a coach that comes across with more excuses than Eric Ten Hag. Oh, we got jobbed by the officials. That's twice, 3 times this season. We would have won games or whatever. Yeah. Really, really brutal watching a team that their biggest problem, they can't score. So, and with him, like he runs amok with players and then like they've got to go. Which is weird that you have to trade a player away because he can't get along with a manager or he says something on social media the manager doesn't like and then the manager benches him for 3 months. You're like, what in the world? And until he apologizes, he's not going to be allowed back with the first team. It's like, dude, you paid $90 million for that guy.
I love the idea of just a super online coach.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, really weird stuff with Ten Hag. Like,
you didn't like my tweet last night.
Which one? About the red area?
The super online coach.
Oh.
Didn't like my tweet last night? Enjoy the bench.
Enjoy the bench, bitch. Yeah. Yeah, like really weird stuff. Like guys fall out of favor there. And then other guys like, man, they brought on a guy named Johnny Evans, who is like a 35-year-old guy that they're bringing on just to help get him through preseason and to be like a leader on the field. That was 2 years ago. He still plays, and he plays all the time. Now he's 37, and you're like, what is happening? Like,
why is Vince Carter playing?
Yes. Yeah. They're going to use one of their assistants to get through, I think, at least part of the season. But European soccer's weird. They just, like, literally go out and steal someone else's coach, like, mid-season. Like, hey, he's going. You're like, oh. Okay.
30 seconds. I live for the drama of the Premier League, and I don't understand any of it.
It's pretty fun. Like,
it is. It's really funny watching people react. My other favorite thing about the Premier League is when people change the way they speak.
Oh.
Like
pitch.
Like Liverpool is good. Or people go, Liverpool are good. Like, you don't talk like that. All right.
Yes, we know Ten Hag was fired.
Hang on, we're coming back.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Red hot Premier League talk at the break.
Yeah, I mean that's what we have to, right? Like every once in a while.
Do we?
If people are Premier League fans or trying to get into the game, Fabrizio Romano is the follow on Twitter, on X, and he's absolutely incredible. He's like the Woj of the EPL. Well, actually, he's the Woj of all of European soccer. And he has his little taglines when we're a go or something like that. It's a go. Anyway, like if you're gonna get into soccer is crazy because there are all these transfer windows, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got your summer transfer window, then you have your like mid-season transfer window, and teams are trading all over. Like, well, they're selling players. It's wild. Anyway.
I love watching people who I had no idea had any allegiance to a Premier League team react strongly to Premier League news.
Oh yeah.
What?
What?
Like, yeah, I'm a Wolverhampton fan. Like, I'm sorry, you do what?
Yeah.
I've never seen you talk about this in my life.
That's awesome.
There was a guy that I was mutual follows with on Twitter for a long time because of the 49ers. He was a Niners guy. And then I had stopped following him at some point. I don't know if he hadn't tweeted in a while or what, but I'd stopped following him. And he popped back up into my timeline one day, and he's this like super well-known Arsenal writer now.
Oh.
And that's just, he's doing like charts and graphs and like PFF style stuff, but for the Premier League, it's crazy. It's insane. Love the career turn from my guy. And that's where I get all of my Arsenal news.
That's right.
I don't care about Arsenal at all, but man, I'm tapped into that guy's tweets for sure. We talked a lot about the 49ers. To start this show, let's get into some Sacramento Kings. They play tonight against the Portland Trailblazers. We'll get into that in a bit. We got to recap what the heck happened on Saturday. 131-127. The Kings fall to the Lakers. They are 0-2 with their 2 losses by a combined 6 points to 2 teams who were both in the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with the 21-0 run.
Okay.
Again, I'm trying to figure out where in the gray area I land here. That was, first of all, watching great players be great is the best thing about sports.
Yeah.
And it sucks when it's happening to your favorite team, especially when you know that like Patrick Mahomes runs for 33 yards to set up the kind of game sealing score to put the dagger in. And you just know that play is going to be on Patrick Mahomes highlights for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
The Kirk Gibson home run, stuff like that all sucks, right? But watching LeBron do what he did the other night, what do you do? That's where like you can't give like a 21-0 run is bad, objectively.
Yes.
Giving up a 21-0 run is something you can't do. But LeBron was also just awesome the other night and made some ridiculous shots that, like, even for LeBron, it's like, you've still got that in your bag, huh? Like, all right. Like, there were the kind of shots, it wasn't like he was just barreling to the rim and getting layups and ones all night. Like, man, you're forcing LeBron to settle for turnaround contested fadeaways and contested threes, and he's just hitting them?
Well, I mean, he turned into prime Dame Lillard and starts bombing from 28 feet, walking up into a half-court set and just pulling up from 28 feet.
I think the reason that this bothered me so much is not because the Kings lost a game or that they gave up a 21-0 run. Stuff happens in the NBA sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
One, the fact that the Kings couldn't get there are 2 things that bothered me. One, you couldn't score at all on this Lakers team. The Kings have way too much offensive firepower to allow a team to score 21 unanswered points.
Yes.
That's the first thing. The second thing is that, well, let's start there. Go ahead. You respond to that. I'll get to my second.
Yeah. So, like, look, I heard so many weird things. Like, oh, why didn't Mike Brown call a timeout? It's like he called a timeout at the 2:03 mark into the quarter. He called a timeout, and at that point, it's a 14-0 run. And at that, he also subbed in Malik Monk for De'Aaron Fox. That's another thing. I saw somebody out there that fancies himself a podcaster still. Say, where was De'Aaron Fox? And like, why wasn't he in the game? He was in the game. He was in the game for the first 2.5 minutes 2 minutes and 3 seconds when they gave up a whole bunch of points, right? 14 points.
Mm-hmm.
He missed 2 11-foot jumpers. DeMar DeRozan missed a 17-foot jumper. right? So, number one, Mike Brown did call a timeout, and he subbed in Monk, Sabonis, and Lyles. And the first thing that happens is, like 8 seconds later, is Domantas Sabonis throws the ball out of bounds. And here we go again. So it was another 7 points that gets rattled off, and then Mike Brown makes 3 more subs. So, like, look, I get why Mike Brown, you're in the fourth quarter of a game. You can't just keep calling timeouts.
Mm-hmm.
You had a play where LeBron James got an and one, and the game stopped, and you had time to talk to your players. You had a full-blown timeout. Because if you get to the end of a game, and again, the fact that it was a 21-0 run, well, the Kings before that were up 7.
Mm-hmm.
So you're only down 14 until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
The Kings fight all the way back. They get it down to 2 points with 57 seconds left in the game, right? And so they have a shot. But what would have happened if you would have just kept calling timeouts in the beginning of the quarter is, number one, you don't have any timeouts in the final minute.
Mm-hmm.
But number two, you also, if you don't have any timeouts, you don't have any reviews either.
Mm-hmm.
You can't review a play. So, like, I get why a coach is going to say, okay, look, we're going to play this out. It's not going to be a 35-0 run.
Mm-hmm.
You're hoping that at some point you can stem the tide and get back to basics. And, like, so that would be number one. Mm-hmm. Things happen. And not only that, but greatness happens. That's what we saw. We saw one of the greatest players of all time just look incredible. And if you go back to the third quarter, he took a one-legged 3-point shot, like on the side, that was just trash. And so if you're the Kings and you watch that,
mm-hmm.
and you're not walking into the fourth quarter thinking, oh man, this dude's going to torch us out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was just wild. And for that matter, Keegan Murray was your best defender, was on him.
So that's part number 2 here.
Yes.
That I think is kind of bigger picture, like zooming out from Saturday night and what happened Saturday night and timeouts and subs and all that. It underscored the issue that I think you and me and anybody else would have said, hey, what's wrong with the Kings roster? Like what's their biggest roster flaw? It's their lack of size and athleticism on the perimeter.
Yes.
And not that there are people in the NBA that just stop LeBron James. Guys, one of the 2 or 3 greatest players who's ever put on a uniform.
Yes.
But that they have 0 additional options aside from Keegan Murray, where you feel good about, all right, Keegan's not getting it done. Let's try player X and see how he does. They just don't have that. And again, not that this isn't to say that, oh, there was some magical formula. Maybe if they had signed Jay Crowder.
Yeah.
If they had signed Jay Crowder, Isaiah Crawford was the only name in my head, and that was not what I was looking for.
Yeah.
If they had signed Jay Crowder, they would have won that game. That's not necessarily it. But the fact that they don't have a Jay Crowder type to go, all right, look, Keegan's doing his damnedest, but it's just not working. Let's try something different. They just don't. It's like, you're not putting Keon on him.
No,
you're not putting Kevin Huerter on him.
Yeah, and Trey Lyles, that would be one of your options.
Sure.
He's just not there.
He is not.
He's not ready.
He's
fighting his way back, and he's trying to get in. He's trying to get into game shape. But if you're expecting Trey Lyles to go out there and stop LeBron James, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, number one, you've got some delusions of grandeur. But number two,
Big Trey Lyles.
You have to understand that your roster has a flaw if that's what the next option is.
Exactly.
And that's, again, like, there are a lot of things that happen in preseason, and, like the injuries you can't do anything about. I get that this team is not firing on all cylinders, but they put up 127 points.
Mm-hmm.
That's good enough to win most games. The problem is that you can't get stops in that situation. And the other problem is you're going up against LeBron James, who not only had 32 points and 14 rebounds, but he also had 10 assists. So the second that you start sending somebody else at LeBron, which probably should have happened, where they started like trying to pick up, but again, back it up. He's shooting 28 footers in transition and nothing but net.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something that you're going to defend ever.
Nope.
Not with LeBron.
It's the kind of thing. It's exactly what Mike Brown said about Julius Randle the other night. Like, yeah, he went 5 of 6 from 3. Like
33% shoot 3-point shooter. When he walks on the court, nobody says, "Hey, we got a hot guy."
Right.
Nobody says it.
You're living with that shot, and you're going, hey, if he's gonna hit those, then that's why I say it wasn't like LeBron was just barreling his way to the rim, and man, can somebody he's hitting a tough turnaround jumper. He's hitting a bunch of threes. He's 4 of 9 from 3. It's all right. And it doesn't help that you get Anthony Davis adding 31 and 9 with 3 steals and a couple of blocks. When those two guys are rolling like that, the Lakers are just really hard to beat.
They are. And I overall, again, I think the Kings did a pretty solid job overall. They had a 3-minute and something second like moment of weakness where one of the greatest players of all time. And as somebody who watched Klay Thompson score 37 and a quarter against the Kings in 1 quarter, I'm like that happens.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. With that guy, scored 60 one game, and he dribbled the ball 12 times?
Yeah, something like that.
So, like
29 minutes, I think he played and scored 60.
Yeah, so when I look at what LeBron did, you have to just, at some point, you have to tip your hat to somebody. And could there have been something else you could have done? Yeah, a couple of guys could have hit some shots.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if, again, you hit a couple of those 11-foot jumpers, if you move the ball one more time. There's a couple of moments where there were the ball got too sticky. Guys tried to take it on themselves. That's not going to work. Get back to your basics, but it's really hard when, again, you're playing with some guys that haven't been there.
That is something. That's the other kind of issue I take with the, again, I know I've said they've got a lot to figure out offensively. It might look a little clunky here and there, but they have too many talented players who are good one-on-one scorers. DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox, Keegan Murray.
Domantas
Sabonis. Thank you. Nobody could get a bucket? Not one? One. That's again, the defensive issues. 44 points in the fourth quarter is insane. That's really, really tough. You should win most games. You score 127.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's where it's like, you score 127. It's hard to go, hey, I need more offensively. But in that particular spot, I need somebody to go, nope, I'm taking this over.
Yep.
I'm going to go get to the foul line. I'm going to go get us a bucket. I'm going to go get to my spot and go get a good shot.
Get to the foul line. That's the biggest thing. Why you have, again, DeMar DeRozan, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis. Sabonis was out the first 2 minutes.
Against a team that can't defend the perimeter very well.
Yeah. And against a team that kept fouling you. You had 25 free throw attempts.
Man.
But for that window right there, somebody had to take it upon themselves to go get to the line and stop the run.
Yeah. 22 of 25 from the free throw line, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out.
They lead the NBA in free throw percentage at 83.3% through the first 2 games of the season.
I love it. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. The Sacramento Kings taking on the Portland Trail Blazers tonight at Golden One Center before hitting the road. The Trailblazers, so I watched a lot of the Blazers in their season opener against the Golden State Warriors. I was not impressed. I thought they looked terrible.
They're an odd collection of players.
They are it's just some dudes running around playing basketball. And Shaedon Sharpe didn't play in that game, so that was part of it. But thoroughly unimpressed by the Blazers. Now, man, they're on Cooper Flag watch. They might not win 20 games this year. Man, it could be a really, really bad year for the Blazers. But then they go and host the Pelicans and win 125 to 103 and smoke New Orleans.
Crushed them.
So they're still bad.
Yeah, but who are
you?
The
second night of a back-to-back.
Yeah.
But the Blazers aren't good. But they have enough talent that if you don't come in, and this is what I'm expecting the Kings to do tonight, I'm expecting the Kings to roll this bad team that's on the second night of a back-to-back. The Kings are so much better than the Blazers. They should be able to dominate this game in every facet. This shouldn't be close. They should win by 40. You'll take a win however you can get it, to be totally sure. But I am fully expecting the Kings to come out against this Blazers team, despite the fact that they just beat the heck out of the Pelicans, I want to see the Kings take this game seriously and blow out a team that's supposed to be really bad.
Well, Kyle, I'm going to point out this is also a team that, number one, you're 2-1 against last year. You lost a bad game to them last year. One of the 4 bad losses of the season were to the Portland Trailblazers. They also came into your building during the preseason and stomped you.
Yep.
Embarrassed you in front of your home crowd. Embarrassed.
Yep.
And so if you don't respect the game and you don't respect your opponent, the Sacramento Kings will lose again tonight. If that's what they do. If they don't come into this game ready to play and ready to respect their opponent. And so I think that we're going to see a different Kings team tonight. I think they're going to be hyper-focused. I think Mike Brown has played these guys a ton of minutes already, but he's trying to get everybody on the same page with the core, and then maybe we'll expand out after that. But for right now, this is a group that should be a little bit shell-shocked, but also should be looking around saying, we really haven't played poorly. We lost by 2 points in the home opener. We lost by 4 points after we gave up a 21-0 run and still only lost by 4 points. And we're within 2 with less than a minute left. We got LeBron. That's what happened. And that happens on occasion. So like I expect them to recover tonight and to give a better effort. And I also know that there is no Julius Randle. There is no LeBron James. There is no Anthony Davis on the Portland Trailblazers. They do not have a single player that is of that ilk. They got a bunch of guys that are interesting and a bunch of guys that you're like, hey, I wouldn't mind having that guy on my team.
No doubt.
But as of right now, they're just still an odd collection of players, not a team.
Yeah. And I think they also, here are the guys on the Trailblazers that really intrigue me. Toumani Camara.
Like him.
But what is he?
Yeah.
No idea.
Nope.
Denny Avdia. What is he?
Yeah.
Like solid player, but like, is he eventually an all-star? Is he what? No idea what he is. Talented player for sure.
For sure.
But again, like what I don't know what his long-term trajectory is. Anthony Simons, same thing. Is he a starting guard on a good team? Is he a sixth man? What is Anthony Simons? He was really good last night. 5 of 10 from 3, had 27 points, 6 assists, and a couple of steals. DeAndre Ayton is just talented player, but
big body.
Yeah.
You don't keep a body on him in the key, and the Kings have dealt with him a couple of times where he's gotten loose with a bunch of rebounds right in the middle of the key. Got to have body on him.
17 and 12 last night for him. Donovan Clingan, rookie, interesting rookie from Connecticut.
Yep.
Scoot Henderson, still trying to find his way in the NBA. It's fascinating that he's not starting.
Really weird.
Played 30 minutes off the bench though.
Yeah.
2 of 12 last night. Ugh.
Yeah, he's not a great shooter.
He's a plus 20 though. 5 boards, 7 assists. Hey, this is an insane thing that happened. I'm looking at the box score from this Pelicans Blazers game. The Pelicans had 15 offensive rebounds.
Oof.
The Blazers had 22.
Oh no.
There were 37 offensive rebounds in the game.
That's crazy.
That's outrageous.
Well, I mean, the
you
Kings
pull down 15 offensive boards, you feel really, really good about your night.
Yeah, I would think so. And again, the Kings talked about the splash zone for like
the crash zone.
The crash zone, right? The crash zone. We're worried about the crash zone nonstop. That's all we heard about throughout training camp. They've got like 6 offensive rebounds combined between the first 2 games. Nobody's crashing. I don't know what's happening. Wild.
Yeah, you can't have that. Kings starters tonight: De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis for the Blazers. Probably looking at Anthony Simons, Denny Avdia, Toumani Camara, Jeremy Grant, and DeAndre Ayton. I'm assuming that'll be their starting 5 again.
Yeah.
I don't know why they'd change it at this point.
So they started last night.
Yeah, and then who intrigues you the most? If you got to pick a player from the Blazers starting lineup, who would you pick?
To throw onto the Kings?
Yeah, let's say that. Forget contract.
Well, if you're going to forget contract, I still think Jeremy Grant would be a decent fit as a player, although he's a really, really poor rebounder. And then Kamara. I don't know.
Yeah, I like Toumani too.
Yeah.
Unless Denny's a weird player for me. I can't decide if he's like kind of poor man's Alperen Şengün, or is he?
I'd say he's more poor man's Franz Wagner.
Okay.
Yeah, he's more of a combo forward that
Yeah.
he's starting at the 2 for them, but he's more of like he's a heady player. He's a good passer. He's improved defensively.
Mhm.
He's sort of what Mario Hezonja was supposed to be. Sort of that guy. Maybe not the high flyer that Mario was.
Sure.
But I think he's quality. I would not have given up what did they give up? 2 first-round picks for him?
Yeah, they gave up a lot to get him.
Yeah, I thought that was surprising. But yeah, kind of an intriguing player.
I think I'd go.
I would take Dwop Reef as well.
Hey, Dwop Reef is the man. Watch out for Dwop Reef tonight, man.
He comes out and busts up the Kings.
He hasn't been playing a ton.
Yeah.
Just because of DeAndre Ayton and Donovan Clingan, they're gonna commit minutes to those guys.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd see what they want for Dwop Reef. I am dead serious.
Yeah, he busted up the Kings last year, and then I think
shoot it a little bit.
All Kings fans should just be hoping that Delonto, what's his name?
Delano Banton.
Delano Banton, who went 0 for 15 from 3 in the final game of the year against the Kings. 0 for 15 from 3, and then got kicked out of the game.
Dwop Reef, in 70 games as a pro, has averaged 17 minutes, shooting 46% from the field, 36% from 3, 74% from the line, and averages 9 points, 4 boards with an assist and half a block.
Yeah, but that one game against the Kings.
Is to say most of that production came against the Kings.
Yeah, one game. Most of it was one game against the Kings.
Yeah, probably not going to have to worry about it tonight. The Kings favored by 12.5. We'll get to our predictions a little bit later on. It's time for the injury report. No changes for the Kings. Devin Carter still out. Orlando Robinson still out. For the Blazers, no Matisse Thybulle, no Robert Williams, and no Shaedon Sharpe.
Yeah.
3 kind of key rotation pieces for them all out.
They've got young talent. That's what that team has. It's whether or not they can put it all together and develop it.
Do we think we see Keon Ellis tonight?
I'm going to say yes, because I like the matchup with Anthony Simons. I even like him trying to slow down Scoot, because when Scoot decides to run at the rim, he's like an NFL running back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he's a strong dude.
I'm so interested to watch Scoot Henderson tonight.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously so talented, but I don't know what his role is. He's not. I don't know if he's a scoring guard. I don't know if he's a pass first guy, because I don't think he shoots it well enough to be a go-to number 1 scorer.
No, I think we're gonna have to wait. It's gonna take 2 or 3 years. This is a kid who went through the G League Ignite system.
Right.
He spent 2 years with the Ignite, and everyone knew who he was. I thought he would be the Rookie of the Year last year, and then he came out and just could not shoot at all, from anywhere,
like zero shooting.
Yeah.
Not just 3. He just could not put the ball in the hoop, and he's struggling to do it again this year.
Yeah, he looked like last year. He looked like young Emmanuel Mudiay. That's what he looked like. Where it's just you're like, look, you can't just try to run at the rim every single time. There has to be more to your game. I think he'll develop, and I've also, I have ties to the G League Ignite. What was the G League Ignite? And they think so highly of him, and everyone does that. He's a really hard worker and all this stuff. So I expect him to get better as the years go by. But early on in his career, it's like, I don't know what you are.
Yeah, man. I'm fascinated to watch him tonight, because the flashes of talent are amazing.
Yeah.
And he'll have a couple of plays here and there where you're like, oh, hey, light bulb's coming on for Scoot. And then he'll go 2 for 12 in a game from the field, and
very inconsistent.
Kind of not really sure what he is. All right. The Kings play the Blazers tonight. We'll get into our keys to the game coming up here in a bit. We got a couple of more questions to get to, including what the heck is Mike Brown doing with his rotations, and are those different when the Kings shoot for their first win against the Portland Trail Blazers? It's a game they got to get. That doesn't seem that big. You got to go get this one.
Yes.
You got to get
this. It's a big game
against the Portland Trail Blazers at home. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. More Kings coming up for you on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Center. Clear.
What's going on, everybody?
I have to do some editing real quick.
Cool. I don't. Okay, so pull back the curtain a little bit here, just so people understand. Number one, very, very few Kings reporters are traveling at this point. The only one that is traveling to most games is Jason Anderson, which shout out to Jason Anderson. He's back to being the beat writer for the Kings, and he's no longer the sports director at the Bee, which is good for him because that dude works 3 million hours a week. And he's a hardworking dude, just so people know. But he also would have to do the layout for the sports page every single day. And so they've taken that off his plate for this year. He was the only Kings reporter, the only reporter that covers the Kings down in LA. A lot of the local television guys, if they would have gone to that, they were all covering 49ers and all that stuff this weekend. But I actually had reached out to Jason too and said, hey, did you ask a question about Keon? And he said he was going to ask a question afterwards, but a LA-based reporter had grabbed Mike Brown after the media session to ask that question. So there isn't a big group of us there. And then head coaches don't talk during during shoot around. So we won't know anything from him this morning as to why Keon didn't play. So that will be a question that we ask in pregame tonight. So again, if a lot of people out there, like, the big question is, why didn't anyone ask, Mike Brown about Keon Ellis not playing? It will get answered tonight in pregame without any question. At least the question will be asked. Whether it gets fully answered, I don't know. That all makes sense, Kyle?
I was not listening,
Sweet.
to be totally honest. I thought you were talking to the chatty house.
No, I was talking to Chatty House.
I was trying to figure out what was going on out here, and I was trying to assess whether it would be funny if I went out and made a joke, and then I decided not to.
You want to be that guy with the new guy?
Yeah, well, I was gonna just walk out and think of something dumb to say. But I
Chris,
don't want to, Complex and Gavin are locked in, so
Chris Choa, Orlando Robinson
King
is
Center.
getting closer. That's what I heard on opening night, that he's been getting closer and closer and closer to being cleared to return to active duty with the Kings. So he was out a month. He would be reevaluated in a month. I would be surprised if he's not back at practice. We're coming up on that month. Well, we're probably 3 weeks in, so a week or two, and he'll probably be cleared.
What happened to Taj Moore? I thought he went somewhere. Oh no.
Taj
No, not Taj Moore.
Taj Gibson?
No.
Hmm.
Something with a Taze Moore. He's still with the Blazers.
Hmm.
He's on a 2-way. Taze.
Hmm. All right, we're almost back. I'm in the itchy phase, growing the goatee back. Not in the red zone. I'm in the red area.
Coming back. Hour number 2, that's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're rocking with you until noon. Then we'll hand it off to D'Lo and Casey. It'll be Jesse Tapia for the handoff today, though. We got mad props to get to.
We do have mad props.
You and me crushed it this week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm fired up. James, Kyle, Jiffy Lube, all that jazz. Let's put a pin in the Kings conversation here for a moment. I want to reset the 49ers conversation we were having. They beat the Cowboys last night, 30-24. Now they go into their bye week at 4-4, and I think, they are in a good spot, and I think that what we're going to see them do is be very aggressive at the trade deadline. Trade deadline November 5th.
Okay,
I think they're going to try. I don't think they're going to go try and add a wide receiver. If they can add another tight end, they might. I know they've been trying to find a reliable pass catching tight end. Maybe that becomes available, but I think you're going to see like defensive line, linebacker, front seven focused moves from the 49ers. But they're going to get Christian McCaffrey back. I think that's going to be their quote unquote offensive acquisition at the deadline.
of course.
And I think that's how they're going to kind of play this. But what I think anything is on the table though for them from an acquisition standpoint. What's now off the table for me is I saw some speculation from the Athletic. I think it was Diana Rossini speculating that the 49ers might be looking to move Trevarius Ward and I think Deebo Samuel. But then you can probably throw Diamador or Lenore in there as well as like players who are going to be free agents. I almost said on expiring contracts, who are going to be free agents at the end of the year, who are making good money, who could help a contender. And the 49ers might be willing to unload those players for, draft capital. Had they fallen to 3-5, I definitely would have been in that camp where, yeah, dude, if somebody wants to give you like a 4th round pick for Trevarius Ward and you don't think you're going to resign him, like, yeah, move him. If you're not sure what you're doing with Deebo and a team wants to call and offer you a 2nd round pick for him, like, yeah, all right. But at 4-4, in a 3-way tie for first in your division with the Cardinals and the Seahawks, you're firmly in like playoff contention.
Yeah, you're right
there. You can't punt.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see the Niners be really aggressive in adding at the deadline. I'm a little bit surprised they weren't in on Josh Uche, who was traded to the Chiefs, a good player from New England, for a 2026 6th round pick, like a 6th round pick in 2 years. You couldn't have done a 5th round pick in 2 years or 7th round pick next year. So that was kind of wild, but I think that's what we're going to see from them. And like we talked about earlier, I'm still kind of waiting to see. They're not Super Bowl contenders right now, but I think coming out of their bye week, depending on how that week goes, we might feel different about them going into week 10.
Yeah, because Kyle, it's a good point. I think if you get to week 10, and let's just say you make like 2 acquisitions for like a starting level defensive lineman and some depth in the middle of your defense, whether it's safety, whether it's linebacker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say that you get a healthy Christian McCaffrey, Dre Greenlaw comes back, and maybe Hufanga comes back.
Mm-hmm.
That's enough of an acquisition grouping that you could see this team taking a leap forward where they're no longer a quote unquote like around 500 team or like maybe what we probably consider at this point like a 10-7 team if they're lucky. Like they could go to an 11-6 team. They could easily win the NFC West. And so if you just look at like some smaller moves that could help bolster what's happening, and then you get Greenlaw and you get McCaffrey back and you get Mason healthy and, maybe you get Juwan Jennings back. Like there's potential for this team to roll, but there's also, the injury bug can hit again.
Yeah.
And you probably need to address your line depth and you probably need to address a couple other things that you're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Niners have like a wish list that's like 6 players deep going into this trade deadline, but they should be out there being active. Like you don't want to waste a year of this team's potential.
And this is a super aggressive front office. They have made, you could go back, Christian McCaffrey trade, the DeForest Buckner trade. Now, granted, they traded away DeForest Buckner, but that was a significant risk that they were willing to take in the trade market. They went and got Emmanuel Sanders a few years back.
Randy Gregory
and Chase Young last year. Yeah. Like they needed help on the edge, so they went and made 2 trades there. Wouldn't surprise me if they made 2 trades for edge players again this year.
Yeah.
Like Sam Okuwanu has been a really nice little revelation for them, but they're still really thin on the interior. You always need edge help especially when Leonard Floyd is not being super productive.
Mhm.
So I could see them absolutely making a couple of trades at one position, like making that defensive line a strength again would be huge. And I saw somebody in the chat, David J said Niners seem like they have issues getting pressure from the defensive line that could help protect the secondary without much else added. I totally agree. Like their secondary's been really good as a thing. A couple of their sacks last night on I think they got to Dak Prescott twice, were both coverage sacks.
Yeah.
Like that was I've been really impressed with their secondary. So yeah, if you get an even better defensive line, like that's where, like, yeah, hey, that one small change could be a significant boost for their defense.
Well, that, and you have to look at how the defensive line feeds the defensive backfield, and defensive backfield feeds the defensive line,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what we saw yesterday was, again, a defensive line get to Dak Prescott and he threw interceptions.
Right.
Right. So
Yes.
you have that. And then you have your coverage sacks. So
Mhm.
like these two groups need to start working better together.
Mhm.
And realistically, I think a lot of it lies within the middle, where Fred Warner feels like he's out there on an island trying to do everything by himself.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
so like it makes it a little tough, but overall, like I think they are probably like two solid rotational players away on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe one interior and one outside pass rush type guy.
The other thing I'm really interested to see after the bye week is because one of the reasons the 49ers are so good after the bye week is the internal scouting they do, the self-scouting they do.
Mhm.
It's something that for all of Kyle Shanahan's faults, it's something I think he's very good at. It wouldn't shock me at all if after the bye week you saw way less Devondre Campbell. They've already started integrating D. Winters more as a third linebacker. They've been running more base defense where they have three linebackers on the field instead of two. And D. Winters ended up at the end of the Chiefs game was the second linebacker in the nickel. I don't want to get super far into it, but basically D. Winters was playing more is the crux of it. And then he didn't play as much last night. He got the concussion. But after the bye week, it wouldn't shock me if the 49ers look at their defense and look at the trade market. And unless they can go add a linebacker that they feel great about, or maybe they feel really good about Dre Greenlaw coming back and playing at a high level, which would be kind of surprising coming off a torn Achilles. But I wouldn't be shocked at all if you saw way less Devondre Campbell and more D. Winters, because they're not athletic enough in the second level. And I think it's been a huge problem for them. And Devondre Campbell knowing where to be on the field is great, but it doesn't matter if you're going to be a step late getting there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's one change they could make without, I think you can improve your defense that way without having to go make a trade.
Yeah, I think so too. And if you hope that Greenwood comes back, then, maybe you have something.
Yeah, I think so. The other one is Juwan Jennings. That's a big one. He's been out the last 2 weeks with a hip injury. If they thought it was going to be longer term, he probably would have gone on IR. So I think they're expecting him back after the bye.
Yeah,
that's kind of what Kyle Shanahan's been intimating. Jordan Mason's dealing with a shoulder injury. Getting another full week off for him will be good. I'm really interested to see once Christian McCaffrey comes back what the backfield looks like. Because to me, you can't. And if you missed it, Kyle Shanahan said that his practice window is going to be opened this week. And then the expectation is he'll return shortly after the bye, probably week 10. So when he comes back, you can't just go give him 22 touches a game again. That's about what he averaged last year. This is a guy dealing with Achilles tendonitis that you have to now manage for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So I don't imagine they're going to go lean on him for 22 touches a game. So figuring out how do you integrate Jordan Mason? How do you integrate Isaac Guerrero? I think he showed last night that he's a player that, remember when Raheem Mostert first started getting utilized with the 49ers in the backfield with Tevin Coleman and with Matt Breida? It was like a handful of carries a game. And it was like, hey, outside zone left, outside zone right. Can you break a touchdown? Can you break a big play? That to me is what Isaac Guerrero can be for you.
Yeah,
4 or 5 carries a game. You get Jordan Mason 7, 8 carries a game. You get back to being a run first offense. You're taking some of the workload off of Christian McCaffrey. Like, you have the depth to do it. You just need to go do it now.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit. I would love to see sets where Jordan Mason is in the backfield with Christian McCaffrey split out.
Yeah.
Like, get them both on the field, because I think you want 10 to 12 carries a game still for Jordan Mason. I mean, the guy's third in the league in rushing yards still. And that's with him playing with a banged up shoulder for 2 weeks. And, he easily could rush for 1,000 yards this season. And I would expect him to. And I think you need to keep him going. And then Guerrero, I would love to see him. Like, when was the last time the Niners had a really high quality third down back? Was it Jerick McKinnon? And even then he was hurt. Like, I would like to see if they can make him into a third down back and a special teams guy who goes out there and runs some of these special plays on kick returns.
Who is this?
Rendo. So I don't know. He had 3 catches last night. Like,
I was
get him out there.
surprised.
Yeah, get him out there. See what he can do.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. They have the talent to continue being an effective offense even without Brandon Ayuk. So I'm really, really interested to see after the bye week what this all looks like, because their offense has not looked like their offense for the first few weeks. Looked more like it last night. Man, watching George Kittle run after the catch was a lot of fun. It's like, where's that been all year? Oh, look, creative stuff to get the ball in Deebo Samuel's hands. That's fun.
Yep.
And he didn't work super effectively. I know he had the one long catch. The screen that he dropped might have been a house call. They had that blocked up.
Yeah.
And he just
tough.
A little bit of a high throw, and he couldn't pull it down.
So many offensive mistakes too with penalties.
Oh,
have
the
cost
penalties
his team.
were killer, man.
They've cost his team huge runs and catches and touchdowns multiple times this season.
Yeah.
Like, man, stop with that and the illegal formation stuff. It's just been bonkers this season. Like, it's really messed up, like, sort of the flow of an NFL game.
Last thing on the Niners real quick. I am stunned, absolutely floored, that a special teams play did not swing the game last night.
I was too.
Stunned.
I told, when they punted late with like 3.5 minutes, I said, here comes a special teams play.
And I was, probably. They had Kevontae Turpin, the Cowboys kick returner, who's one of the best, if not the best kick returner in the league right now, kick and punt returner, dropped a kickoff, muffed it, and just had it bounce right back up to him, and he still got across the 30.
Impressive.
Like, bro. They were just, the other thing I don't understand what Dallas was doing was they kept running. So they've been doing all year the fake where Turpin has it and he runs to the right and another guy comes up behind him, and they fake the pitch to him, to the guy coming around.
Yeah.
And they faked that pitch, and then they finally did it last night. It's like, why are you doing that against this coverage team? Just block it up and run.
Just go.
Why are you getting fancy? This team stinks. Or I shouldn't say this special teams unit stinks.
Don't church it up, nerd.
Just go, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, man. So shout out to the Niners special teams. The first game all year that they haven't had a major calamity on special teams, where, like, man, there were so many opportunities after any of their touchdowns in the third quarter. A long kick return could have swung the game. You mentioned the punt. Their last punt at the end of the game with a few minutes left, with like 3.5 minutes left, whatever.
Yep.
That a big return there could have swung the game. There were so many places where special teams could have been a problem. Anders Carlson came in, drilled all 3 of his field goals, drilled all of his extra points. I'm just saying, the 49ers drafted a kicker in the 3rd round, and now they have signed 2 guys off the street who have yet to miss a field goal.
Wow.
Draft pick usage, baby.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jake Moody. Hope he's healthy soon. All right. Let's get back to the Kings. That's James. I'm Kyle. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. The Sacramento Kings taking on the Portland Trail Blazers tonight. Do you think, just real quick, we got keys to the game coming up. We've got our official prediction as well. But do you think we see the same rotations for Mike Brown tonight? Like, he's going to try the rotation that he used against the Lakers, because we saw in the first game against Minnesota, it was just like mix and match, and this guy's going to play 6 minutes and this guy's going to play 11 minutes. And it's just kind of, it's a, here's some Doug McDermott for you. It was kind of a smorgasbord of rotation players. And then we saw, like, against the Lakers, like, Keon Ellis is a DNP-CD, did not play coach's decision.
Yeah.
Do you think we see him stick with the rotation for 4 or 5 games and see how it goes? Or maybe he starts with the same rotation he had against the Lakers tonight and makes adjustments as the game goes on? How do you think this is going to look?
Yeah, I think he's going to broaden his approach a little bit, but I honestly, This is my 15th year covering Sacramento Kings. In my first 12 years, I had 9 different head coaches. So, like, look, I've seen this from so many head coaches. When things are difficult early in a season, or you go through a stretch where things have gone wrong, and let's be honest, the training camp / preseason for the Sacramento Kings was not ideal, right? They go 0-5, but just don't worry about the 0-5. Worry about the fact that Trey Lyles gets cleared to go back on the court 2 days before the season starts, and Kevin Huerter realistically was like 3 days before that, where he was actually able to play functional basketball. Wasn't cleared to play a preseason game. Mike Brown, I believe, is trying to shrink his rotation as tight as possible to get that group, the group that he relies on every single night, to build continuity as quickly as possible. You're going to play a ton of minutes. You're going to play together. Sometimes bad things will happen, and we're going to stay the course, and we're going to try to get this thing moving the right way. He's playing a 7-man rotation with Alex Len playing 10 minutes. So you can call it a 7.5-man rotation.
Man.
And that's crazy. But at the same time, I totally understand what he's trying to do. He's just trying to get the team back on the right path. And once you're on the right path and everyone's moving like clockwork, then you can start filtering in other players. Now, you go into a game against a team like Portland, who has some really exciting scoring guards and stuff, right? You probably need Keon Ellis in this game.
I would agree.
Now, you might not have needed that against the Lakers because the Lakers are running a bunch of tall dudes out there. And maybe you didn't need that. But for right now, I think Mike is trying to figure out how to contract and then slowly expand his rotation back out while filtering players in. And I don't think it's anything personal against Keon Ellis. I think it's very much that, Kevin Huerter had a really good start to the game. He hit 4 threes. He was super active, and you need him to keep building on that. And you're watching Trey Lyles struggle, and you need to get him through that. The only way for Trey to go out there and do this is, look, the Kings played on Thursday, had Friday off, flew to LA, played on Saturday, had Sunday off. Now they play against Portland tonight. They play against Utah tomorrow night. Like, there is no practice time to go get Trey Lyles ready.
Sure.
The only thing you can do is shove him out there and say, hey, man, do your best. We'll try to have your back, but do your best. Just get right and get right on the court. And it's not easy, but I think that's what we're seeing from the Kings.
They just, the Sabonis and DeRozan 37 minutes, Keegan 40 minutes, De'Aaron 41 minutes. Like, dude, that is not sustainable for a long time.
No, and I don't think it's intentional.
There's diminishing returns eventually. Like, early in the season, it's fine. And I know it's not intentional. Mike Brown even said after the first game against Minnesota, like, I don't want De'Aaron and these guys playing 43 plus minutes. That's not what we're doing here. But at the same time, this is now back-to-back games that Keegan and De'Aaron have played 40 plus minutes. And like I said, it's okay. First couple of games, you got that figured out. But the point is, there's a little bit of urgency here.
Yes.
Because starting to play those guys, if you're going to do that in a playoff game or a playoff, okay, yeah, that's fine. But 2 games into the year, like, man, at some point, you got to start cutting those minutes way, way back.
Yeah, the urgency is to get the team on the right path. Once the team's on the right path, then we'll see it expand.
Yeah. Let's get to keys to victory tonight. I have not finished my keys, but I know what they are. So you go first. James Ham, key to victory number 1 for the Sacramento Kings.
Be the more physical squad. I think Portland, the one thing that Portland does do is they play hard and they play physical. And if you don't match their physicality, if you don't beat their physicality, they can jump up and beat you. And where physicality shows up, Kyle, is in those 22 offensive rebounds that they posted yesterday by New Orleans. If that's who you are tonight, if you're going to get killed on the offensive glass and that's who you are supposed to be as a team, then that's on you. Like, you know what this team is. They're not a great shooting team. They're a team that has a weird collection of players. They won 21, 22 games last year. This is a team this is a game you got to get, but it's a team that's playing on the second night of the back-to-back. Be the more physical team. Take it to them.
Yeah, my first key goes right along with that. So we'll just tie it in here. Take this game seriously, man. Take this as make it a challenge to go win this game, but make it a challenge to try and go win by 30. And maybe you don't. Maybe it's 10 points. But hitting the gas out of the gate and not just throwing your jersey on the court and going, oh, this is a bad team, we'll go win this one. You very clearly can't do that, man. So I would like to see them hit the gas early, get ahead early, and finish them off.
No, that makes perfect sense, man. That's where they need to take these games serious, and this is a home game. Like you need to take. You're about to go on a 4-game road trip,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to take it serious.
Yep, right there with you. Number 2.
Well, that's a typo. Figure out who the fourth quarter finisher is. Yeah, like they need to figure out who is going to be the finisher because right now, and again, this can bounce back and forth, but right now, it kind of feels like it's a little forced. And I think that's what we're seeing. I saw some plays where, again, I think DeMar DeRozan in the first 2 games has forced a couple of shots and he's just trying to figure it out. And I get it. But, like he forced a 17-foot jumper like during the 21-0 run with a guy in his face, and sitting right in the corner was either Kevin Huerter or Keegan Murray. One of your 2 best 3-point shooters is sitting right there, and he just didn't see him or he didn't get the ball to him. Like you got to figure this out between him and Fox. Fox missed 2 11-foot jumpers. Like Fox is so good in the mid range, and to miss 2 11-foot jumpers during the 21-0 run, again, it's not like the Kings turn the ball over every time. They missed a bunch of shots. So figure out who's going to be that guy in the fourth quarter and rely on it.
Yeah, and that's for tonight and moving forward through the rest of the year. Like that's going to be a major talking point for the Kings as we get it. Hopefully, though, they don't get into a situation tonight where they need to like close out a close fourth quarter. Hopefully, they can take it to this Blazers team, and
that would be ideal.
Number 2 for me, dominate the bench minutes. The Blazers have Scoot Henderson coming off the bench. They have rookie Donovan Clingan. They have Chris Murray and a 2nd-round pick from a couple of years ago named Jabari Walker were their 4 leaders in minutes off the bench against the Pelicans. When those guys are on the court, go win those minutes.
Oh, yeah.
That is Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter, Keon Ellis, Alex Len, whoever's on the court with that second unit, you have to go outscore them by a lot. They had 12, 21, they had 30 points off the bench last night. Go outscore them 50-30.
That it's a good point, but I'll tell you, Kyle, one of the problems the Kings have had is that second unit, and the opening unit and the closing unit have both they both have incredible net ratings. It's what happens in between that isn't there yet, and they got to figure it out.
Yeah. Number 3.
My last one. With the crash zone. Like anyone?
Love the crash zone.
Anyone? Like that was supposed to be like a point of emphasis. Against the Lakers, the Kings had 5 offensive rebounds against.
Domas had 3 of them.
Yeah.
Domas isn't in the crash zone. Domas is just in
grabbing
the paint
offensive
doing work.
Rebounds.
Yes.
Yeah. And then against Minnesota, they had 4. And that's not what we're talking about. You want to be up around 8 to 10. And then you see these 2 teams that just played yesterday, 15 and 22. Now, a lot of that's because there was a lot of missed shots. I'm going to assume, because if there's that many offensive rebounds, that means a bunch of people missed shots. But overall, the Kings need to get better in that, especially since it's a point of emphasis.
Yeah, man. I just, you have DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan didn't have a rebound against the Lakers.
Yeah.
Can I get 1?
It's really tough to blame
Keegan
a guy like
Keegan only had 4.
But see, Keegan had 11 rebounds in the opener in game 2 when he has to defend LeBron James for long stretches. He doesn't get in the crash zone. So it's difficult.
Man.
Yeah.
Yikes. Number 3 for me, shut the faucet off on Anthony Simons. That is the catalyst for Portland.
Yeah.
If he's going to hit 6 threes, you might have a rough night. If you can slow him down a little bit, they don't have a ton of recourse when he's not scoring, especially with Shaedon Sharpe out. They just don't like Scoot Henderson. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Not a great scorer at this point in his career. So you shut off the faucet with Anthony Simons, and you have a really, really good chance of beating Portland.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
You got a prediction for us?
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like Kings by 12.
Okay.
Like 124, 112.
Yeah, I'm going to go 120, 104.
Oh.
I think it's a comfortable win. I also think we see more Jordan McLaughlin tonight. Jordan McLaughlin's the kind of guy that could give Anthony Simons some minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
I would like to see Keon Ellis get some time on.
Yep. Would love to see that as well. All right. That's James. I'm Kyle. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube, and we are here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. I didn't write an outro. Whoops. I will be right back.
Cool. All right. Hey, we talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
You guys need to cool it right now, or we're gonna I don't want to have to shut down the chatty house during our show, the chat for the next 10 days. Cool the jets. I don't need to look over and see the word Nazi 15 times. And I don't care what you guys what you're going out about, and I get it, but I'm done. I'm done with it, and I'm going to call on the moderators to literally just put you guys on timeout. And if we have to wait until after the election to let you back off a timeout, then that's what we'll do. But I'm not doing it. We are a political free zone. We have not brought up the Bosa situation, and we're not going to, because we're trying to give people an escape from the political bullshit that's happening right now all over the place. So, yeah. And if the moderator started it, hey, cool it. I'm done. I'm done with it. I don't want to see it. Let's all be friends here. Let's all remember opening night where everyone went and took pictures together and all that stuff. I'm done with the bullshit. Hey, what's up, dude? I was just yelling at the chatty house. Sorry. Yeah, they're a bunch of weird stuff. Yeah, John, I don't want you to step away. I just want you let's cool it with the political talk. That's it. We're trying to have a good time here, and you can yell into the abyss somewhere about the politics afterwards, or just go on Twitter, to be honest. But in the chatty house, let's try to keep it civil, or let's try to be friends. Because it's saying, just so you know, the election's going to happen, and then after the election, we're all going to have to figure out how to be friends again. And I don't want that to be the case. Yeah, sorry, the game 916. Yeah, I did. This is exactly what I he can go to Threads and do the same thing, but he won't get the response.
Oh, still got 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, this is good.
We're
This
moving,
is the
Coach.
Kings do need a lob threat. I totally agree. Let's wait and see, though. I want to see how Isaac Jones develops. I want to wait and see if Orlando Robinson has any of that in him. But yeah, we'll figure it out. And hey, I'll say this too. Hey, I know John wasn't the only one in the discussion. At the end of the day, that's what we gotta.
At the end of the day, if we can blame John Bull for something, we're going to.
That's true. That's true.
It's the mantra of this show.
But let's try to cool it. Let's try to be friends here.
What's up, Chatty House?
We're gonna go there.
Jesse's here.
What's up, guys? What happened?
Yeah, the chatty house has been wild.
What's new? I know about 4 years of that.
I just don't. I saw the word Nazi at least 10 times. Whoa. So cool. We're back.
You did not see that coming?
Well, of course I did. But hey, let's get it. Thank you, John.
Soren, I get together with my cousins and my uncles. We're all Dolphins fans and stuff. When I tell you, we all just got up out of our seats and erupted when Tua slid after he took off.
Was it Jalen Wright wearing the Guardian cap?
HN.
Has he been doing that all year?
Since his recent concussion 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I want to see the whole team.
If he was doing that Tua, look.
Oh, no.
I'll do it too.
Nah.
I think Tua has the crazy helmet.
Yeah, he's already got the most, whatever you concussion, blah, blah, blah helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one that they're 3D printing to match the shapes of the individual skull.
That's so wild.
Yeah, so
I did the segment during the game. It's oh yeah, look at the inside of Tua's helmet. Look at he's safe. Blah blah blah.
I need to figure out what's going on with Patrick Mahomes' helmet. It sits so high on his
It's his hair.
What's going on in there?
It's his hair.
There's no way it's his hair.
It was just
because
wires.
there are so many dudes with more hair whose helmets fit fine. But I swear to God, his helmet sits up like this.
Maybe they're cheating.
I had super
that's what
long
this is.
hair
I think that's exactly
on top when I was in high school, and a helmet was a mess. but not tall hair.
Thrilled that we're missing what appears to be a super important meeting. It's so sick.
It's lunch with the new boss, I believe.
Did you meet the new boss yet? Good guy. I'm a fan.
Aaron part 2.
We're a thumbs up.
For real.
2 Aarons.
Sounds good.
We're now led by a pair of Aarons.
Here we go.
Well, Aaron 1 gets stuff done, so.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Kyle Madsen, James Ham, and Jesse Tapia, producer for D-Lo and KC. D-Lo and KC coming up here at noon on ESPN 1320. But Jesse is here, of course, for Mad Props.
My favorite segment of the week.
You're not in program 1 anymore. Now you are.
My favorite segment of the week.
Nice, dude. Yeah, no, it's a
Shout out
it's
to
a
the
fun
radio.
time. We love having you in here. Can't wait to talk about Tua sliding.
Yeah, that was sick.
That's a big deal. Scooter 916 in the chat wanted us to tell somebody asked, can someone please tell Brock it's okay to slide feet first? Yeah, he's a baseball player. How's he not sliding feet first?
How does he slide?
I've decided, by the way, that if you didn't play baseball at some kind of high level, I don't want you playing quarterback.
Okay, why?
Because I think in the modern NFL, all the stuff that like middle infielders have to do, where you're flipping your hips to throw and different arm angles and stuff, like the touchdown pass that Brock threw last night to George Kittle, where the blitzer's coming off the edge and he has to drop down sidearm, like that's just a shortstop move, dude. That's the classic like flip to second. He drops that arm slot, gets it over there. Like that's a throw that you don't naturally have in your bag if you just grew up just playing quarterback.
Now I'm curious, like which quarterbacks in the NFL have not played baseball?
I would love to, like, it's some kind of like travel ball, right? You didn't have to you didn't have to go play in college or be drafted or anything, but just enough that muscle memory is there, because that's the thing with Mahomes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody always leans on why Mahomes is a baseball player, and you see it in the way he moves and the way he throws.
Yeah, coaching soccer,
Russell Wilson.
one of the most frustrating things is all of the kids that are there that have only ever played soccer.
Yeah.
So, like, you have goalies. The keeper doesn't know how to get down and field a ball like a ground ball. They don't know how to take a knee and field a ground ball. Defenders don't know how to slide. They don't like slide tackling. You think it's all natural. No, you learn how to slide playing baseball and on a slip and slide. You don't go. And then you have kids who are out there who like, well, I don't really slide. And then the baseball kids go, whew, flying by everywhere. You're like, look at the baseball kids. They know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting how the sports, how if you're not playing multiple sports like I did when I was growing up, like, you know how to do so much more, so much more muscle memory.
Yeah.
Play
Zibbo
multiple
brings up
sports when you
Kyler
grow up.
Murray.
Should definitely play multiple sports when you grow up.
Yeah, that's it. Dr. Nirav Pandya from UCSF. We have him on the program from time to time, friend of the show. And he is adamant about, just for health reasons, like playing multiple sports growing up.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's why I don't know. We could get into a whole thing about this. I believe Russell Baxter, is it, from ESPN? Is that his name? Did the like 2-part series on how NBA players are coming into the league at 19 with like the ligaments of guys in their mid 30s because they've only been playing basketball since they were 8, and they're playing on the AAU circuit. So it's just year round, just constantly playing basketball, and they're not training any other muscles or ligaments in their body to move different ways.
Yeah.
And it's just that constant usage of those ligaments and muscles that is just wearing guys down way earlier than they used to.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Fascinating. Anyways, play multiple sports,
science.
kids. Don't specialize in sports until after high school. Anyways, let's get to Mad Props. We had and we also have to get to our we also have not hit our Jiffy Lube teamwork play of the game from Saturday. We'll also have that coming up for you. But first, speaking of Saturday, we got to get to Mad Props, where we had the Kings game against the Lakers on Saturday, matched up against the 49ers game against the Cowboys last night. 2 props. Which one's higher? We'll figure it out. Here we go.
It's time for Mad Props.
Yeah, it is.
2 games, 2 props. Which number will be higher? That's for Kyle and James to decide. Here's Mad Props.
I'm going to redo that intro. Kyle, James, and Jesse. No disrespect.
Oh, good.
I hadn't redone the intro.
Honestly,
you don't have to yell
I
at me about it.
Better that way.
Jeez. Okay.
I like being low key, bro.
Okay. Very good. No, it's very
He
good for
doesn't
you.
need his own theme band.
That explains why you didn't do very well this week.
I did poorly this week.
Yeah, it's tough.
Oh,
Not
Poorly,
poorly.
but quite
Not
poorly.
poorly. Poorly compared to how you started, because you started on fire.
I got you. We just had a bad week then.
All right, number 1. We had Jordan Mason rushing attempts or De'Aaron Fox field goal attempts. We all thought Fox would put on more of an offensive show than he did in the Kings season opener. And boy, did he. 20 field goal attempts for him. Jordan Mason, of course, left early in the second quarter. Or left late in the second quarter. Did not return. 6 carries. Luckily, we all had De'Aaron Fox. That's a big win for all 3 of us.
Shout out to us.
We did a great job there. I would love to know what that number would have looked like for Mason had he stayed in the game.
Yeah. What did Garendo finish with?
14.
Oh, yeah. So
That puts you
there's
at
your 20.
exactly 20.
Yeah, he probably would have been like 16 or 17.
Yeah, but the game probably goes different because we talked about it earlier. Like Isaac Garendo came in that game and a switch flip for the Niners offense.
Yeah, that's true.
If they didn't have the holding call on his 3rd long run in a row after he came in the game, they're in the red zone and looking to score a touchdown before the half. That Brock Purdy fumble was brutal.
Oh, great.
The one where he went to pump fake and the ball just fell out of his hand. I was so Jimmy G of him.
Oh, that's
Oh, it
tough.
was the
Don't
most-
do that. Don't do that.
That was the
Don't do
most
that.
Jimmy G ass play he's ever made. Oh, so annoying. Anyways, number 2, we had Brock Purdy pass attempts or Malik Monk points and assists.
I went on a limb on this one.
Yeah, you went Monk points and assists. Got close. James and I went Brock Purdy pass attempts. 26 pass attempts for Brock Purdy. 19 points and assists for Malik Monk.
That's
Did
not
get to-
close. You don't have to be nice to me,
did
bro.
get
That's
to
not
7
close at all.
Did get to 17 points. Didn't have the assist numbers
Yeah,
to
it's all right.
quite get you there. I tried. Sorry, man.
Yeah. Don't. What is it? Don't patronize me.
Again, though, I would no, that's fine. I was gonna say I would have loved to see Brock Purdy's pass attempts if Jordan Mason stayed in the game, but they might have been higher because he just was not being effective.
Yeah, that's true.
Number 3, Ricky Pearsall receptions or Domantas Sabonis 3-point attempts. We had a close one. 4 catches for Ricky Pearsall, 3 3-point attempts for Domantas Sabonis. We all rolled with Pearsall, and we all get the W.
Shout out Ricky Pearsall. He looks pretty good.
Yeah, looks solid. And
The
shout
run.
out to Domas, 7 3-point attempts for 2 games.
I'm with it.
I think we said 3 to 3.5.
Yeah.
Can you get to 3 or 3.5 a game? And sure enough, look at that. He is scoring. What do you have in the first game? 24 points, and then had 29 against the Lakers. Look at that. Love to see it.
Yep.
Love to see it from Domas. Number 4. We're on number 4 now. George Kittle targets or Keegan Murray rebounds. James, you went Keegan Murray rebounds. Jesse and I rolled with George Kittle targets. It was a huge game for George Kittle on National Tight Ends Day. 7 targets, 4 rebounds for Keegan Murray. It is uncanny how much cool tight end stuff happens on National Tight Ends Day. Did you see the stat that tight ends had more catches yesterday than in any day in NFL history?
Yes, I did see that.
I wonder, do offensive coordinators like take that into account?
I don't know.
Like
I don't.
like-
yeah, I don't know.
they know, oh, it's National Tight Ends Day. We're going to draw up
No,
a
there's
couple
no
of
chance.
plays.
No, they're not like, hey, fellas, you know what day it is?
Are you
Kittle.
sure though?
Kittle. You know what Sunday is?
But it's like Kyle Pitts is going off and Brock Bowers is going off and Sam Laporta, I think, had 2 touchdowns.
yeah.
I think they take
To
it
be
into
fair,
account a little bit.
you did name 3 guys I've been going off. Well, Pitts has been more so the last few weeks, but
That's a good point.
Laporta and Bowers.
Kate Otten had a
Yeah,
huge
Kate
week.
on, like, come on, bro. You almost lost me a fantasy game last week because you just erupted out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah. Even McBride had 127
Trey
yards
McBride,
receiving or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, just all these guys who are undoubtedly good players, like you said, just all kind of blew up in the same week, which leads me to believe there are offensive coordinators around the league going, hey, we're in the red zone. We've got 1st and goal at the 1. We're going to try and get our tight end a touchdown.
It's red area time.
Tyler Jennings
Time
says
for the
last
better.
year on Tight Ends Day, that was the old record. Do we got a conspiracy going on over here? Are we just cooking up the books on Tight Ends Day every year?
Maybe.
I think it's possible.
I think
that
it's worth prize picking.
they're all
next year.
pumped up. I think they're all like, hey, it is. And, a couple of guys have a good start.
Yeah.
And then everyone else is like, oh, this can be my day.
Yeah.
And you go out there with a little bit of extra juice, the quarterback's going to find you. They notice it.
Or is it that Dallas's defense isn't very good and George Kittle just kind of rumbled through?
That's it. That's it.
There's that too.
It might be that. Number, what are we on? 5? 5?
Sounds right.
I think so.
49ers red zone touchdown rate or Kings 3-point percentage. Jesse, I respect you so much for rolling with the bit and picking the Kings. Didn't quite go right. The 49ers 75% touchdown rate in the red zone. The Kings did not shoot 75% from 3. They shot 34.1%.
Wasn't even close.
No. That's tough.
Sometimes you got to take a shot.
No, I respect it. You're shooting for the Niners like 1 for 4, maybe 2 for 5, and the Kings have a hot shooting night.
It's so funny
respect
because
it.
I leave Matt props every week. Like, this could be the week I might go undefeated this week. Every time, so it doesn't even matter, huh?
And you didn't do that this week?
Oh, I did. Like I said, I just do
wow.
it every time. Doesn't even matter.
I love the confidence.
Yeah, it's just,
it doesn't.
Yeah.
We're not playing for anything.
Because one week it might happen, the week it does, like, yeah, I was right.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing for bragging
nice job, man.
rights.
It's very good. The last one, 49ers total points or Sacramento Kings leading scorer. James, you rode with 49ers total points. Jesse and I said, no, the Kings are going to have a leading scorer that scores more than the 49ers do. The 49ers scored 30.
Lows.
The Kings leading scorer had 29. It was Domantas Sabonis. 29 for Domantas Sabonis.
But 27,
Jesse and I catch it.
28 for Fox?
28 for Fox, yeah.
Yeah.
Jesse and I both catch an L there. My first L, by the way. I went 5-1. James, you went 5-1. Jesse 3-3. Jesse now 22-13-1 on the year. I'm 25-20-3. James, you are 31-14-3.
I'll take 500 for the week.
31-14-3.
Yeah,
Domination.
it's a good number.
17 games over 500.
We also have our little side quest going on.
Oh yeah, that one was close on Saturday.
Which team loses first? The Chiefs or the Celtics? The Celtics had a way too close call against my Detroit Pistons.
Hey, you might not this year, but the Pistons might be something next year. They don't miss. It's pretty insane the way they play.
Yeah,
they haven't won yet, but it's not like you guys stink out loud. It's like I see the vision.
Gave Boston a run. The Raiders gave the Chiefs a run.
Yeah.
Woo.
We're heating up.
Close.
Ooh.
James has the Chiefs losing before Boston. Jesse and I have Boston losing before the Chiefs. We will continue keeping track of that on Mad Props. Speaking of Saturday night, let's put a bow on Saturday night. We have not yet gotten to our Jiffy Lube Teamwork Player of the Game or Play of the Game. We're going to do that right now, courtesy of our friends at NBC Sports. Here's Keegan Murray getting up and throwing one down.
Malik. Lakers retreat. Oh, Keegan. No, he went to the top floor, Katie. He skipped 1 through 10 and went all the way up. Malik.
What I love about this play, Kyle, is if the people who cannot see this at home, who aren't on YouTube and just listening on the radio, is Alex Len seals off the goal for him to go up and dunk this ball.
Yeah.
And Alex Len tried this. He's like a minute later and got called for an offensive foul on another big dunk.
Is that Jackson Hayes that he's just sunning underneath there? Look at this. This is a child playing with his dad and dad just not having it.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but he clearly gets just crushed by the Alex Len seal off.
Also, Keegan elevated from way the hell out there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good little.
That's impressive. From
He's
Keegan.
up there too. Like what? Like oh yeah. Extension. Look at that.
Is that Hachimura or Jackson Hayes? I think that's Rui.
Who is 12 on?
I think that's Rui. I'm pretty sure that's Rui. Jesse, can you confirm that? I'm pretty sure that's Rui Hachimura.
That's Max Christie.
Oh,
that's Max Christie.
Yes, Max.
I'm
Christie.
way less impressed. I'm so much less impressed by this now. I don't know. That's just rude.
He is 6'5". Yeah, he's just
getting
getting
out. Hey, Max. I can't believe they paid Max Christie $32 million American dollars.
That's crazy talk. What they get. I mean,
just every minute he was on the floor is like, oh look, Kobe Jones in a Laker jersey. That was the vibe I got.
Yeah. Okay. It's tough. He got dunked on. I mean, he's kind of out of the way.
He got shoved aside by Alex Len. He got sunned by Alex Len. Here we go. Here he is gets sunned by Alex Len. I'm not really sure what he's doing there.
Oh, it's Jackson Hayes that gets burnt to the basket.
That's where Jackson Hayes is. Okay, I knew he was involved in the play.
A little barbecue chicken.
All right, so
there.
Jackson Hayes gets. Oh my God, what is this?
Even tries to
grab.
grab.
Okay, good closeout. Okay, arms out. Why hand up, Jackson? What is this? What is this? What are you guarding?
Some Matador defense.
That's a 40+% 3-point shooter lining up a corner three, and you've got your arms out to guard the passing lanes.
It's possible he read the scouting report that Keegan Murray is left-handed because that's what it looks like. He's going to his left, but Keegan shoots with his right, bro.
Like, use the baseline as a defender. What is it? What are you defending here? What the? Okay, arms out. Yeah, got to defend that dump off to Alex Len for sure. All right, now let's completely over pursue it. Let's foul him. Foul. That's fine.
Grab.
This is not.
That's not right.
This is what is happening. God bless Trey Lyles. our guy down here in the corner,
Why?
like, get it to me, Keegan.
He's not even behind the line though. Like,
Get it to me for this long two.
Yeah, Trey lining up for a mid-range shot right now.
This is our Jiffy Lube teamwork play of the game, by the way. And then we've got, I don't want to copy the video address. Get away from me, Twitter. And then we've got, okay, Jackson Hayes blow by. He's like, all right, I'm not going to try and get back in this play. And then this is a foul. Alex Len is fouling the hell out of Max Christie right now.
I don't
Oh,
think
that's
it's
a
a foul.
seal.
That's a classic. This guy's 7 feet tall and I'm 6'1".
it's the rap. You're not allowed to rap. I'll give you. This is a holding call in the NFL for sure.
You're wearing him like a backpack. What is happening here?
Yeah, that's.
It just suns him, and then Max, get out of the way,
Yeah, what are
Max.
you doing?
Max, run away. Fall down.
He's like trying to jump, and Alex is like telling him, like, no, just stay here.
Like, look, he's making $8 million a year. I understand he needs to give a little bit of effort, but you have to recognize here you're beat.
Yeah,
You
it's
got
not,
beat.
it's not your fault either, Max. It's Jackson Hayes' fault. Just get out the way.
Yeah, sorry for everybody listening on the radio. This is more of a visual thing, but Max Crispy is Max Crispy.
That's exactly what
Sounds right,
it
yeah.
It
is.
sounds like it's never mind. He's getting sunned by Alex Len under the basket, probably fouled, no call. But as he's like, Alex Len's got a body on him. Keegan's elevating, and he still tries to jump. Oh no, Max, get out of there, dude. You got to make a business decision. At this point, you've been whacked, so you're getting fouled here. Fall down, just fall down. Maybe draw a penalty or maybe draw a foul, and you don't get. You don't have this happen to you.
Back up and run down the court.
You don't have this. This is just. Oh, Max. Oh no, this is the worst. Yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. That's just. Oh no. That's our Jiffy
Kyle.
Lube teamwork player of the game. Shout out to
Max
Keegan
doesn't
Murray.
even know he got dunked on, too. He's not even facing the play.
He has no clue. He just has no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Max.
Good stuff, man.
Shout out to Jiffy Lube. We love them very much. Let's take a look around the NFL real quick. A couple of things from yesterday. The Commanders-Bears game was insane.
That was amazing.
The Commanders walk off the Bears 18-15.
I've never been more out on coaches in my life, though. The Bears need new coaches.
The Bears need a new coaching staff so
It's
bad.
disgusting.
The two reasons why. They get down first and goal, I guess it was a third and goal at the 2,
Right
the
around there.
1. And they try a fullback dive to a backup offensive lineman.
What do you...
And he
that-
fumbles, but didn't fumble like, he got hit. He just never received the ball because that's not what he does.
Exactly. What are
Okay.
you doing?
If
Why?
you're up 20 and you're trying to get that guy a touchdown, okay, that's fun. You need to win the game. You need a touchdown to take the lead late in the fourth quarter, and you're going handoff to backup offensive linemen?
Okay, first of all, it was not backup offensive lineman day in the NFL.
It was
So
not.
What are we
It was
doing?
not. That's November 26th. Everybody knows it.
Secondly, DeAndre Swift had 18 carries, 129 yards, and a touchdown. He was averaging 7.2 yards per rush. And you don't hand it to your guy averaging 7.2 yards per rush at the 1 yard line?
Because you're a bad coach. That's
And
all that
because
means.
he is anti James's fantasy football teams.
Oh, it's all just the big old conspiracy.
It is a big conspiracy to hold the Swift, Kirk, and the Dickers down.
Yep. No, FCC says that's cool.
That's our
That's our
DeAndre
team,
Swift.
man.
We
Yeah.
had Christian Kirk, and we used to have Cameron Dicker.
Are you guys in first still or no?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we're leading the league in scoring by a lot. Our defense,
Fire.
I've been streaming defenses.
Mhm.
I streamed Minnesota this week. Tough scene. Negative half a
no, I
point.
had 'em in a couple
We still
leagues.
cleared 140 points.
Oh, nice.
Second highest scoring team in the league, I believe, this week.
Yeah,
With
but
our defense
overall,
scoring
we're
negative.
by far the highest scoring
Yeah.
team in the league.
Nobody cares about our fantasy team, but
We also have like the 3 hottest running backs in the league right now.
Yeah,
No,
total
Derrick
smoke
Henry is
shows.
one, right?
Yep.
what's that?
You got Derrick Henry, I'm assuming.
Jameer
have
Gibbs,
Jameer
Yeah.
Gibbs and
J.K.
Swifty.
Dobbins. Oh, and DeAndre Swift.
And we have Dobbins.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did
Got off
we
to a
did a
good
good
start.
job.
Look at you guys go.
Yeah, just cruising along. No, Tyreek Stevenson, though. Did you guys see this video?
Yeah.
If you missed it, Tyreek Stevenson, Bears defensive back, walking over to the Commanders crowd in the end zone and taunting them while the Hail Mary play is happening.
In the middle of the play.
Mid-play.
You haven't seen this, James?
What's
He's
that? No,
standing there.
I saw it.
Oh.
I saw it.
He's standing there in the end zone, like pointing at fans, doing the like, get out of here, like the hand
Flexing.
wave, flexing, yeah, doing this thing, which is do your taunting. The play's happening. There are people moving, and you see Bears fans in the video like, hey,
Yeah.
There's a play happening now. And he turns around, he jogs back towards the middle. He winds up being the guy who runs over a little late, a step late, jumps, gets a hand on the ball, but tips it up and backwards to Noah Brown.
I didn't realize he was the one who tipped it back either. I
Yes.
thought it was just like, oh, like I just saw the video at first. I wasn't even like fully paying attention. I was like, oh, poor guy, like taunting, whatever. It's like, oh, karma, blah, blah, blah. And then someone tweets like, yeah, he's the one who tipped it back. I didn't
Yes.
realize that either at the
Yes.
time.
And he got there because he was late.
Mhm.
He had to like do a running jump off one foot. Had he been boxing out and he probably is able to get up and knock that ball down, or at least not knock it so far back that it's getting all the way back to Noah Brown.
Or
Yeah.
he should have been defending the guy who caught the ball. Because
that should have been his job on the play.
Yeah, and even if he would have tipped it across, they had receivers waiting for that as well.
Mhm.
Like if it didn't go backwards, like it was just such a poor play by that guy. Because if he tips it over to the side, that's where you had two Commanders wide receivers
Mhm.
waiting to catch the ball and go for the 3 yards into the end zone.
That low key
Here's-
feels like a momentum swing in a season type of thing right there. It's like
That-
it's gonna the Commanders are gonna go and the Bears like they would have went what 5-2?
Yeah.
Yeah, now they're 4-3, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4-3. Yeah,
That's really tough.
yeah.
You hate it for them. Here's the deal. If you're Tyreek Stevenson, you are now like that is who you are as a person.
Yeah, Tyreek Stevenson.
Everybody's
is the guy who
gonna
gave the Hail
know.
Mary.
The Raiders or 49ers signed Tyreek Stevenson in 5 years. We're going to go, hey, that's the guy from you remember that Bears Commanders game? Jaden Daniels against, yeah, that's the guy. The reward there, though, if he's talking all that trash, runs over late, jumps up, intercepts it, and the game ends, he's the coolest guy in the NFL.
I'd rather be the guy who won the game and did the right play. I mean, like, look, if he picks
No
the ball
doubt,
off
no
there,
doubt.
I'm doing a snow angel in the middle of the end zone. Like,
Well, to be fair, too, if you're not even talking trash and you just tip it back and Washington wins, like no one's even gonna care that you did that because it's like, oh wow, Washington did, but the
That's
fact
a
that
good
you were
point.
talking
That's a good
trash, like
point.
that's why we know your name
Yeah.
now.
The risk reward is not quite there.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. I also want to real quick. I'm out on Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, no. As soon as he
Quarterback.
sat out to play because he's tired, like
I'm
brother,
done.
like pass out on the field. I don't care.
I'm done.
even
That's
before that
just-
play, he was sitting there like on the bench with like mean mugging the whole time.
Yeah,
like, what are we
vibes bad.
doing?
He's just not quite good enough to be checking out of games because he's tired. But then again, you mentioned that the play before that he had gotten hit low, and maybe he's worried about Joe Flacco taking his job, so he's hurting, but doesn't want to tell anybody that he's hurt. He's like, no, I was just tired.
But he let Flacco on the field. Like that's the last thing he should do.
Yeah,
right
you can't.
now.
You can't do that.
I'm with
the quarterback
I'm with
series
you
on
guys.
Netflix last season or whatever. Kirk Cousins every week is just screaming in pain, grabbing his ribs every time. Like, bro, get out there if you're tired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I'm down on Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, no,
now.
he's done. He's done. He's not. It's not
He's
gonna work.
toast. The
Yeah.
Texans beat the Colts 23-20. The Lions are awesome.
Yes.
They beat the Titans 52-14. Did you see at one point they had 49? Oh my goodness.
Oh, we gotta go.
Yeah, we have to go. They had 49 points and like 28 passing
Stupid
yards.
dumb radio show talking with my friends.
This is crazy. I love this job so much. Appreciate you guys. Jesse will be with D-Lo and KC. They're coming up next. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Until then, drink water and be nice to people. Woo!